A positive societal impact in a changing world, and the mission of IIM Kashipur is to create and disseminate knowledge through applied and interdisciplinary research and practices in emerging areas of management. IIM Kashipur is committed to its four core values of collegiality, transparency, green consciousness, and proactive engagement with all the stakeholders. IIM Kashipur has a sprawling campus of 200 acres, situated in one of the most beautiful locations in India. The lush green campus is nested in the lap of the Himalayas in the state of Uttarakhand. The institute enjoys the nearby industrial belt, having more than 180 ventures. The strategic geographical positioning provides a vantage point for IIM Kashipur when it comes to learning by doing through regular industry interaction and live projects. IIM Kashipur is equipped with all the modern facilities ranging from the technologically advanced classrooms to hostels, providing all the amenities and infrastructure such as gymnasium, library, amphitheatre, other sports facilities, and shops for daily requirements. The Institute offers various programs that are MBA Analytics, Executive MBA, Management Development Program, PhD, and Executive MBA Analytics. We have continuously looked to cater to what the industry demanded. The latest edition of MBA Analytics in January 2020 in course offerings is a testament to that. Our executive MBA program at Dehradun campus has kept abreast with the evolving trends at institutions, such as first-generation IIMs. IIM Kashipur has a mix of permanent and visiting faculty to offer a holistic learning experience in various domains. There are 40+ permanent faculties who are some of the best professors and research minds. The Institute has also been able to bring in subject matter experts from leading companies and other institutions as visiting faculties to equip the students with the best industry practices and perspectives. The Institute has established 4 centers of excellence that are Center of Excellence in Public Policy and Government, Design Innovation Center, Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development.
Trend is a startup incubation center at IIM Kashipur, operating since 2018. In the last 6 years, we have supported more than 200 startups in starting a new business and scaling up their existing solution.
IIM Kashipur, a completely student-driven campus, from basement to functional work, from academic to non-academic activities. There is a student body for each discipline. Being a part of such student bodies and event-specific teams, students get first-hand experience of time management, working in a team, situation handling, and managing positive relationships with the administration. IIM Kashipur has secured several times with leading management institutes across the world, including Spain, France, Denmark, Greece, Israel, South Korea, Thailand, UK, Thailand, and many more. IIM Kashipur also offers a short-term exchange program, STEM. We are indebted to our students and alumni for maintaining the legacy of the Institute. With their determination, we have been granted the reputed Aquis AACSP membership. We aim to achieve new heights with every new batch of students. We celebrate the ups and downs of the journey of our beloved students and would like to wish them luck for upcoming years.
Thank you. We are also delighted to share that today's conclave is being live streamed across our social media platforms, allowing a wider audience to be a part of these enriching discussions. We are honored to have with us today Professor Utkarsh, Chair of Placements, and Professor Deepak Verma, Chair of Placements. Thank you, sirs, for gracing the occasion with your presence and constant support. So, coming back to Samanvaya. This year's theme for Samanvaya, from employment to enablement, reflects a powerful and timely shift in how organizations perceive talent and careers. For decades, careers were defined by designations, fixed roles, and hierarchical ladders. But today, the world of work is evolving faster than ever before. Success is no longer determined by the title we hold, but the skills we build, the value we create, and the impact we deliver. Organizations are moving beyond simply employing people, they are now focused on enabling individuals with capabilities, ownership, and opportunities for contribution. Keeping this transformation in mind, we begin today with our first panel discussion, from job titles to skill portfolios, reimagining career progression. This session will explore how careers are becoming dynamic journeys built on skills, adaptability, and lifelong learning rather than static positions.
It is now our privilege to introduce our esteemed panelists for this morning. We begin by welcoming Mr. Nitesh Kumar, Talent Acquisition Leader at Adobe. 15 years of rich experience in strategic hiring across technology and digital domains, Mr. Nitesh has been at the forefront of building innovative recruitment practices and driving AI-led talent strategy. His work reflects a forward-thinking approach to how organizations attract and nurture top talent. Sir, we are truly honored to have you with us today. May I request Mr. Utkarsh to kindly present a welcome bouquet to Mr. Nitesh.
Next, we are delighted to introduce Ms. Supriya Ahuja, Vice President Talent Acquisition, Campus Creation and Management Training Program at Sony Pictures Networks India. Recognized among the folks. Recognized among the folks in their top 30 talent leaders of 2025, she has consistently led large-scale hiring initiatives and built high-performing teams while aligning talent strategy with business growth. A leadership and people-first approach has set new benchmarks in this industry. Ma'am, it is a pleasure to welcome you to Samanvaya. May I request Professor Utkarsh to present a bouquet to Ms. Supriya.
We now welcome Mr. Kunal Choudhury, Director and Head People and Talent at Alvarez Marsal. With extensive experience in scaling global capability centers and building HR systems to the ground up, Mr. Kunal has successfully grown organizations at remarkable speed while strengthening culture, diversity, and employer branding. Sir, we are privileged to have you with us today. May I request Professor Deepak Verma to present a bouquet to Mr. Kunal Choudhury.
Joining us next is Dr. Mohit Sharma, Associate Director, HR at Synergy Consulting, a seasoned HR transformation specialist with over 16 years of experience. Dr. Sharma has led numerous initiatives in employee engagement, performance management, succession planning, and organizational development. He is widely recognized for aligning HR strategies with business outcomes and driving meaningful change. So we are delighted to have you with us. May I request Professor Deepak Verma to present a bouquet to Dr. Mohit Sharma.
Also extend a warm welcome to Mr. Debojyoti Bhattacharjee, Head HR Strategy at Motherson. Working at the intersection of people, technology, and change, he brings deep expertise in leadership transition, cultural integration, succession planning, and building future-ready organization. Sir, we are honored by your presence today. I request Mr. Deepak Verma to present the bouquet to Mr. Debojyoti Bhattacharjee.
Guiding today's discussion is our moderator, Mr. Utkarsh Singh, Senior Product Manager at Paytm. With a strong background in building and scaling digital products and systems, he brings a unique perspective on enablement, ownership, and how technology shapes the future of work. We are grateful to have him moderate today's session. May I request Professor Utkarsh to present a bouquet to Mr. Utkarsh Singh. With such an accomplished and diverse panel, we are confident that today's discussion will provide meaningful insights into how we can rethink career progression in the modern workplace. So without further ado, I invite our moderator and our proud ally, Mr. Utkarsh Singh, to take over and begin the panel discussion. Over to you, sir. Please, Utkarsh.
Hey, hi everyone. Am I audible? Yes. Great. So, first of all, thank you everyone for joining us on our Saturday morning for our discussion on. I think it's like very relevant in today's time. Like, and for the folks here, it's very relevant from employment to enablement and like how we are moving from like titles. We were having a discussion before this also, which was very much related to how do you move from titles to skills, right? So I would just want to start off with like why is it required in today's time, and how can one sort of move towards a skill sort of based portfolio when maybe today's systems are still programmed and maybe are still looking at titles whenever they, let's say, look at a CV or look at any openings. So let's start from there and then we can. Yeah.
You already heard my introduction. It's a huge issue for any HR person to convince somebody that designations are different in different companies. Okay. Now, my friend from Alvarez here would very much know that somebody who is a director in one consulting company can become an engagement manager in another company. Similarly, somebody who might have been vice president sales in another company can become a super specialist in business development in another organization. Very important to look through the flesh and bones and probably identify what is the opportunity that particular role gives you. Now, over the time, you all must have come across two words, role and designation. How many of you know the difference between role and designation? Anybody? What is the difference? Yeah, go ahead.
Designation is the job title and role is the actual work you will be doing.
So let's go to the Government of India. The designation can be Secretary of National Dairy Development Board. Another designation can be Professor at IIM Kashipur in Organizational Development. What will these roles be? Very difficult question, isn't it? Very difficult question. Now, when you look at roles, they're basically, and all these friends of mine will tell you, they're basically a split of skills, accountabilities, work areas that are elaborately defined to form a role. I guess from my side, I guess my friends will make you further elaborations on the same. However, whenever you go for a job, you might get a job as an assistant vice president immediately after your IIM degree, isn't it? However, you can be assured that there be a role which is designated as an assistant manager, which might be better for you.
Thanks for setting that context. What I strongly feel is both roles and titles are going to coexist in our ecosystem. Specifically, if you look in our country, designation is currency, right? And I was just having a chat with Supriya this morning that if you say that we are putting away the designation, then you're creating a whole lot of ambiguity within the organization. Number one. Number two is titles are social status. It makes us happy. It gives us satisfaction. It's also for some people for matrimonial alliance. It's an important input, right? So if you tell somebody that we are completely moving away to skill-based portfolio and there are no designations, you're challenging the entire HR ecosystem, right? All roles are mapped with designations. All designations are mapped with tenure, years of experience, compensation, right? So if you bring this systemic change, I don't know how will it allow us to grow the organization.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be at IIM. Yeah, this morning we had this interesting conversation. And given that, yes, it is true that in our society, in our country, we do believe in titles. But bluntly putting it, this ladder is needed, it's required in our country because that's the way that it is. But it is more of a liability because we are moving towards an AI world where a title or a designation which was in 2023 is now an artifact. So while we must move away from it, what's really going to happen in the future and what I really see also happening right now is more skill-based. So skills are going to be fluid rather than titles. So enhancing skills more than emphasizing on roles is going to be.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Supriya. First of all, thank you so much, IIM Kashipur and Nitika, to have me here. It's a great pleasure for me to join as one of the co-panel. Now, the title, the theme, which is employment versus enablement, which is very close to my heart. When I started my career, most of you must be thinking I'm a PA guy. I have done MBA from IIM. No, I don't have any IIM tags in myself. I have done my master's from correspondence, which is Sikkim Manipal University. So after doing my NCA, I enabled myself to be a TA professional. So I joined one of the, I just remember, I'm just giving you a context. It's like you have to understand two things. Employment is one thing and enablement is one. Employment is you join as a fresher, you gain experience, and then you enable yourself in a longer term, right? That's what I did. I did my MCA and I moved to Bangalore to pursue my career. And I was not sure after doing my MCA, generally people think this guy will be a software engineer in some companies. That's how typical thinking which we have, right? But then I chose to be, I did not choose, it was like I was pushed into TA role. And then I started liking it. I thought it's a great thing for me. And I shifted my mind. So when I shifted my mind, and I'm seeing last 3-4 years in the industry, how industry has shifted their mind as well after COVID. One person, I'm just giving an example, just to correlate that a backend developer, software engineer, a Java developer, now no longer will only do Java development. They will be also doing front end, they'll be doing AI, a lot of stuff, and AI is already on the peak, right? So for me, what I feel to enable yourself is something how you shift your mind. It's like, are you going to look at your paycheck or are you looking into, after IIM, you might be thinking of a big brand. If you want to go to Microsoft, you want to go for Adobe, you want to go for Amazon, that's all up to you. But it's a thinking which you have to push yourself to the enablement. What you bring into yourself to get into those companies. So with that, I'll pass on to my colleague.
Great, thank you. So good morning, everybody. You can understand how dynamic this panel is. That the first thing we have done is we have taken the mic away from the moderator. So from all the way we just landed, the mic is right here. Okay. I think the take is slightly on similar lines, but the point that we probably need to understand is that when you guys go and get the jobs in the market, right? It's important for you to understand whether you're focused on just getting a title before your learning starts. And if you really want to boost your ego, if you really want to just satisfy your ego that you all have, and the intensity may be different depending on which level we are sitting at today, right? Whether you're sitting on this side of the table or on the other side today, that determines your ego level, right? So the choice is yours, right? If you want to satisfy your ego, go and pick up a job which gives you the best title, right? It could be an AVP or VP or maybe to begin with, any title that you want to get. But if you want to get learning, right, then you need to understand which jobs bring the most valuable knowledge or skills to my portfolio. So it's your portfolio. Imagine, right? Rightly said by him, when you start your careers, when you're getting into out of this chairs and this classroom setup and get into a corporate world, you need to understand from there you start with your portfolio only with a blank sheet of paper. So whatever add value to your portfolio on that blank sheet of paper should be your priority. Not any title, even if it comes with the most junior level title. All of us sitting here might have been, some of us have been lucky, but I can tell you, the greatest HR people that I have seen, and a lot of professionals that we have seen and must have encountered, were the ones who started from ground zero, and they have built themselves up from that ground zero. So there's no harm, there's no shame in starting from ground zero. Don't try and step up that ladder. Thanks to AI, that ladder, the career ladder in particular, is evolving as you are kind of studying here as well. A lot of rings at the start level of 2-3 levels, which were the initial levels in the organizations, are dynamically changing as you're progressing your careers and your courses. So keep that in mind, and I think we'll touch upon it during the discussions. Thank you.
I'm going to add to that.
Sure.
It's not going to come back to you. I'm just going to add to what he just said, right? It is true in reality that designation titles actually do not really matter. It's what you are performing, whether it's through internal mobility, it's through stretch assignments, it's through skills that you enhance with, that's roles going to matter. In organizations that I've worked with, what I've really brought in is you can have an internal mobility even to a downgrade. So you go back down because the role is more interesting, and where you're going to learn more and you're going to enhance your skills. So skills are really going to matter at the end of the day. I think like he said, both of us actually are in very senior TA positions, but both of us actually started from ground zero completely. And to me, even till date, the title won't matter if I'm actually getting to do more. So if I'm learning more, if there's a skill that I'm enhancing, I don't care even if I have to go down to a level below. So it doesn't really matter at all, trust me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Good point. Let make it a bit interesting. So I think the general idea was that the titles don't matter. But whenever I send a referral to any HR, the most common line that I get is we are only looking for relevant work ex and the designation. So even if I apply, if I let's say apply for a product role, I may have like a project manager designation. Some skills do translate to a product role, but there's a high probability that my CV won't go. So how do I, let's say, or how do these people bring across that skill portfolio, or how do we like skip through that process where we can, let's say, get noticed to an HR and get hired for roles that my skills can translate. So I have done that within my previous organization. Within 5 years, I had 4 different roles. So I was able to do that, but it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So can we touch on that?
The answer is don't apply for all jobs. Now, a lot of people just do spray and pray. You know what spray and pray is? Let's just put our application everywhere. Whatever will come back is God's grace. Now, let me give you a few examples of mergers and acquisitions. How many of you want to work in mergers and acquisitions? Raise your hands. They are very, coveted jobs, by the way. Okay, just to tell you, my company acquired some 23 companies in the last 5 years. Now, whenever I acquire a company, imagine if I'm acquiring a startup. Everybody in the startup is called general manager. Okay, the first designation in the startup is general manager. Now, when they merge with our company, I'll have to make that general manager recruit to a deputy manager. So his boss becomes the deputy manager and he becomes the assistant manager. Now, please understand, like Supriya and all my friends said, what are we doing here? We are doing something which is technically called grade leveling. How many of you know about grade leveling? How many of you study HR here? Anybody studied HR technically or something of that sort? No, but you must have done first year HR at least, isn't it? So, you see, grade leveling is when two companies integrate or merge, or when ecosystems are seen with the same lens. You actually figure out that, oh, this guy is called a director somewhere, is he equivalent to a general manager or is he equivalent to a senior manager? Now, you level grade basis skills. You level grade basis goals. Now, to this question, how do you get noticed? Apply for few jobs. Research about the roles and skills required for that job. See whether there is a parallel with your skills and jobs. You are not omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. So you cannot apply for every job. First of all, that realization should come to all of us. Apply to only few jobs. In fact, there are a lot of places where people have been ended up asked questions that was, how many companies have you applied to and why have you applied to these companies? And that actually tells us what is the seriousness of this particular candidate. And going forward in jobs also, people will ask you, why are you applying here? You can't say because, I am senior manager and it says assistant general manager. Isn't it? That's not a great answer. So that's my take. Apply for few jobs. If you don't want your CV to come back, or if you don't want AI to answer to you, okay, then you'll have to apply where your skills and roles done previously are a fitment with the role, not the designation that you get.
Your comments, I think he has beautifully summarized it. If I do not see my fitment in that particular opportunity, there is no need for me. Like, I'm an HR person, right? So there can be hundreds of opportunities in finance, marketing. I just can't go and randomly start applying if I am not fit for that role.
think that was very practical for learning from what Debojyoti said. But what I'm really going to add is that while we do, as HR professionals, we all get a lot of resumes, and all of you are trying to apply to several jobs. As HR, let me tell you that we, of course, we look at it like this, that, each individual, and today AI tells us everything that, a person has applied to XYZ job. That means you could be either be really desperate to move out. That means you need to see that what is actually going wrong in your career. And as employers, as HR, we also really need to educate ourselves to figure out that where is it and what is it that you really fit in. But when you are applying for a job, whether it's an internal movement or an external, look at the skills that can be applicable in another role that you may be interested in. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you are moving from sales to a marketing. What in your experience, exposure, and your own day-to-day jobs, those can you apply really in a marketing job? Yeah, look at the job description that is there and look and talk to people who are doing that role currently, and then see whether you really are eligible for that or no. Because applying to just job like this, saying that I want to move from sales to marketing or marketing to sales, vice versa, it doesn't really help. So be very, very conscious about it. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks. Just to add on to that, why people apply internally or as an employer, maybe I'll correlate that to again enablement word, right? A product manager, as you said, product manager can apply from one team to different team. He might or she might be a fit, not fit. But just to give you a practical thing about it, not everyone is 100% matched with JD. JD is one thing, and the person who's working is totally different. So you need to enable again yourself in case if you're working, let's say in Amazon, maybe for Prime Video, just to give an example, and you are already working in that team for 3-4 years, and you knew that you are done with this work and you want to grow up to the next level. But what have you done to go to the next level? So maybe Amazon Prime Video will be looking for something which is very good for you, but tomorrow you want to do something for AWS. AWS is one of the core business for Amazon, right? So you want to understand, introspect yourself why this JD or this role is a right fit for you. Talk to the respective recruiter, talent partner, and nowadays talent partner or recruiter is not a transactional job. It's like basically how we're building a bonding between stakeholders, hiring managers, and the candidate. A candidate might come to me. I'm like I'm a recruiter of AWS. Just give me an example. I'm a recruiter at AWS. This candidate is talking to me, hey, why this is not suitable for me and why my profile is getting rejected. I will have to coach him, guide him, hey, you have done a great job in Amazon Prime Video, but this role has now slightly higher expectations. So either you will have to gain the knowledge which AWS is looking, just because you're a seasoned in Prime Video doesn't mean that you will get through everywhere in the corner of the Amazon. That's not practically possible. Every team, every vertical has a specific demands, what they want to fulfill. So based on that, either you have to tweak, you cannot just tweak your resume with the help of AI, you should know the real content about it. Tomorrow, if you're going for an example for interview at AWS, they might ask you why we should take you at AWS. So you have to keep those examples. So what you basically try to pursue for, you should introspect yourself. And as I said, none of them are right. Nothing is called as 100% match with JD. So if you are 60% match, lift it up, maybe make it 70%, 75%, and then you see, and then you apply. But always go to the respective recruiter to understand what makes you suitable to apply, and that makes a better candidate for that role. That's my take on that.
Do you want me to add or no? If you have another question, we can figure it out.
No, you can.
All right. Okay. So there are a few things from the CV's perspective. Let's keep it, and I'll keep it absolutely try and keep it very, very simple. There are a few things that are static in absolutely all of your CVs. One of that constant factor is IIM Kashipur, correct? Now, when I look at the CV of this entire group, right, and if let's say we need to select and pick the entire panel sitting here, what is the differentiator that I would need to identify in each of the CVs to pick one CV over the other, right? So that talks about the authenticity of the CV that you are able to build. Because what is same for all of you is the degree, is the institution, is the college. But what differentiates is possibly the way you have presented your CV. How authentic it is, when you come across, and are you able to really represent what you have done? I keep telling this to my team, and it's a very straightforward Indian-proof example. If you have read a book, if I have read a book, and if I have read that book via ChatGPT, only a summary of 15 pages, don't try and compete with somebody who has read a 300-page book. Because your knowledge will be limited to that 15 page. Don't try and come and pitch and say that, I have equal knowledge as yours, because that's where exactly you fall flat on your face. Say I have read summaries, I have a habit of reading summaries because my time is short, because of the paucity, the time that I have, the commitments that I have, in my work, deliverables, etc., etc. But I do have a habit of reading various inputs, snippets from the books, but make sure that you are actually presenting your authentic self. Don't try and show off around, right? That's where most of the CVs gets rejected. Two, when it comes to diversity of skills, I am done a project management, so I can relate with you. We all have read about T skills, we have read about M-shaped skills, right? Why it is important, and I think it's an eye-opener. A lot of people came to me and asked me, why are you doing the project management course? You are absolutely nowhere related to it. And I know them, if you actually look at the project management 3 pillars, one is business, the other is people, third is process. Tell me where you don't see HR. It was as simple as that. So you need to understand the context. Third most important element. I have given interviews in one of the banks where I've served for 5.5 years. And I can tell you, when I went for an interview, I did my research. You don't get a chance to get on the seat, next to the table to an interview very often, given the kind of competition that you guys have. Make sure you are prepared. I was prepared enough that I gave them an update which happened, about the bank in the news. I read it so thoroughly well that I gave them numbers of their financial results last year. I gave them an update which happened yesterday. And the interview was, no, this never happened. I said, really? You want to take it up? Let's open Google. And the head of the department who was sitting in that room, he said, this exactly has happened yesterday. It's already out of the news today. So you need to be that prepared to be, part of an interview. And I got that interview in one round. One round. So please understand that there is, just to last one point quickly, 30 seconds to add up to your point on taking an internal transport. I think my point is relatively very simple. Please build your internal institutional capital first. It's easy to then leverage on that capital to seek an internal mobility or a transport. So Priya rightly mentioned it actually. You can actually take up a role in your own firm, but have you built up that institutional capital for yourself? If not, don't expect people to do things because you believe you are the only one who can do it. I'm pretty sure there are people, there are more number of people in the organization who can do it much better than you. And sorry if it hits you hard really strong, but I think this message needs to be passed on. Right? Thank you.
Great points. So I think, like you rightly said, building those skills and then communicating how those skills can help you do that in your role. And maybe just adding to that, thinking about something that you can bring unique to that role, which maybe others are not bringing, because you are coming from a different work experience. So you could bring something new. So like moving from let's say a business role to a PM role, you can always bring that customer centric approach, right? You can build on your experiences and that can, help you progress there. So yeah, great points. I think we have done like how to get into a role. Now let's say you are into a role. How does performance appraisal look like? How do I progress with the career? this is just my,
You are your
opportunity, so I just going into my.
HR professionals are going to be able to answer this better.
So how do I progress? Now, how do I build up my career? One is that I want to continue in a role. We'll explore that first. Another is, let's say I want to switch to a different role, because across, let's say, 30 years of a career, there might be times where I realize, okay, I'm not, built for this role. I want to explore something new. How do I go from there? So first we will explore, okay, how do I progress if I want to be in that role? I'm right where I want.
So he mentioned something called performance appraisal. Okay, now this can either be a disappointment for something. This can either be something that you may enjoy for 1 year, but you'll certainly not enjoy every year. Now, let me just try to encapsulate the process for you. How many of you have heard about cause and effect theory? Cause and effect theory? Everybody is right on cause and effect theory. What is cause and effect?
Take a cause and we take the effect of that cause.
Effect is that a thing happens. Cause is what are the drivers that make that particular thing happen. Now, when you move from the student's life to an employee's life, things don't happen immediately. Like over here, what you do is you give an examination and Deepak sir probably marks 70 out of 100 or 80 out of 100, and that's the effect, isn't it? That's the end of life for you. On the other hand, organizations are perpetual beings. They say, just like we have a human personality, there's a natural personality. It has to keep going on, business as usual, as we call it. So you always keep working on causes rather than effects. And cause and effect are not so closely linked in organizational senses. Performance appraisals are processes which actually give you line of sight between cause and effect at your workplace. Whenever you are appraised, it actually shows you how closely have you been able to work on causes which will generate an effect which is important for the organization. Now, these days, performance appraisals have got very interesting. I don't know how many of you have given open book examinations. Anybody's given open book examinations? Is it easier or tougher? How many people said easier, please raise hands, and how many people said tougher, please raise hands? I'm a lawyer by education. Okay, I started giving open book examinations in law college. And before that, I thought that this must be the easiest thing to do in life. But these are all case study examinations. You understand? On an open book examination, just like a performance appraisal, you have to set your own goals. Now, as a human being, what are your goals for every day? Get up in the morning, brush your teeth, eat food, go to class, listen to the lecturer or sleep, and then somehow pass examinations. Isn't it? Now, imagine how hard your life is going to be. Now you're going to form your own goals. Then somebody's going to have a conversation with you like this guy. Is this goal the cause to the effect that you're trying to have? And he'll have so many conversations with you like this. Then you'll be like, why is this person after my guys? You understand? Now, why is he doing it? He's trying to get the cause closer to the effect. And that's performance based. You understand? So it's not just about being given a goal. It's about finding your goal and the drivers that can help you reach there. Once you have perfected that technique, you can succeed in many jobs. But like all my friends said, you can move from sales to marketing. What are the skills required in sales? You need to figure out how to reach the decision maker. You need to figure out how to induce urgency to purchase. You need to figure out how to close a deal so that you can identify a monetary decision maker to pay for a particular good. What are the skills needed in marketing? You need to figure out which context is my product fitting in to enable purchases like a science. Marketing is the mind and sales is the fingers, isn't it? Now, when you move from there, let me tell you, you're not going to be able to identify cause and effect so easily. So somebody like him will torture you. Okay, suddenly he'll come in your life again. Previous role you must have done very well. He will come into your life again and you say, oh my God, dobara. And then he tortured you till the point you bring cause closer to effect. That's performance appraisal for you. And that's how you grow in life. Take growth in a job like life, like you learn a new game. When you moved from cricket to baseball, if you go to America, nobody plays cricket, isn't it? Or when you move from football to rugby, it takes that rigor, isn't it? You need to identify how contact. The way contact happens in golf, where the ball is stationary, to the way contact happens in cricket, where the ball's momentum has to be used by the bat to move it in a particular direction. Very different. Whatever comes in between is performance appraisal done with a brilliant human being like him who will dispute the book.
What an analogy. But greatly summarized. I'm going to get into the method of it. What is performance appraisal? A group of people gathers into a room and gets into ugly conversations. This is mine, this is yours. My mentee is 5, yours is 3. No, he has done X, he has done Y, his customer NPS is 90%. He is traveling to Sydney to do this, that. So it's a debate, right, where people are fighting for their own people. But to make sure that you are heard or you're seen in that meeting or somebody is advocating for you in those meetings, what is very, very critical is, my dear friends, you need to make yourself visible in the organization. If you are not visible, if you are not seen by people, nobody will stand for you. Number 2 is always remember that at the end of the day, there is an outcome, right? It's a process. We will have to put people in the bell curve. Some of them will be top quartile, some of them will be at 4, some of them will be like meeting expectation, and there will always be few. And typically in consulting organizations, you will always have to let go 10% of your people who are not performing. It's always, I don't know if you have heard this terminology or not, there's this concept called up or out. I mean, in every 2 years, if you're not moving up, you're out, right? Now, people are also, with the advent of AI, people are also rethinking on that. Is it really up or out? Because roles are not getting created. So how do we change the second terminology, which is out, or maybe we make it up and grow, right, or something of that sort, right? We are still debating on it. But what I'm trying to essentially tell you is that every process will have an outcome, and some outcomes will be favorable to you, some outcomes will not be favorable to you. But that's not the end of the world, right? Career paths are never linear. It will always go through oscillations, right? In some years, you will do good, in some years, you will not do good because of business, because of economic circumstances, because of personal circumstances. But that's not the end of the world, right? I may be 5 rated for good 3 years, but suddenly my rating dropped in the 4th year because of whatever reasons. But does it derails me or does it pushes me 5 years behind? The answer is no. So be prepared for it. Don't get worried about ratings. Majority of the firm will sit at meeting expectations only.
I think when we talk about performance appraisal time, and that's usually March, April, right? That's the time which is coming. And how I recall it, it's like an open day in school, right? But and I often tell people that, and especially team members who are reporting into you or in the organization, that it's nothing to be kind of I won't say running away from, but you're typically nowhere, wondering what's really happening, what's your future in the organization, etc. But I look at it, and I always tell my team members that it's a time for reflection. It's not something that outcome that you're waiting for. Reflect on your own self. That what is it that you have done this year, and what is it that's extra mile that you have gone. So every year that also boils down to the topic of title or promotion or grade change, right? It's about every year you keep doing the role, which is your KPI, but within that, or have you gone and extended yourself to learning more, to apply yourself and bringing and adding value in that by maybe acquiring new skills or taking an extra mile in a different way. That is more important. And then you can say that, okay, this is what I brought to the table, and this is why I deserve what I'm asking for. Then you have a seat on the table. Otherwise, then you are just asking for the regular thing, oh, why haven't I done this? And trust me, no HR managers or your own managers are really going to say, okay, what is it that you're doing differently this year? So your grade change, your title change, or a level up is not going to really matter unless you are going to make the change in your own self.
So before getting into performance and appraisal, I know this is a season also for performance and appraisal, but I am keen to know from this crowd, how many of you are here from MBA HR domain? How many of you studying HR? Nobody? Okay. So in HR, there are multiple pillars: talent acquisition, operations, payroll, and many more, right? Performance and appraisal are two different things. As Kunal said, visibility is important. From where it comes. No, if you go to office and need to say hi to your boss or good morning to your boss and then you sit, that is not visibility, to be honest, right? So visibility is beyond saying good morning, you also perform. But still, appraisal is not in your control. I'll give you an example to it, right? When I started my career, when Supriya also might agree to that, around 10, 12 years back, hiring a recruiter or a talent acquisition was very easy. They used to ask you, hey, how many numbers you drive, how much closer you have done. But in the 5, 6 years, 7 years, like after COVID, it has shaped a big time. You will not be, I'm not trying to demotivate, but you will not hired as a talent acquisition role in any companies until and unless you think beyond numbers. It is very important how what strategy you have to talk to stakeholders. And apart from closing numbers, how you shape in terms of dashboard, how much AI you do. Big companies, I see nowadays they're also, initially it was easy to hire like any degree company will hire recruiters. But now they're also particular what you bring as an impact. Impact is not limited to hiring. If you say in 1 year I have closed 500 role, that was a core job for which you got hired for, right? But how you did that? Let's say one position is open, and I'm just talking of typical HR language here. Just to give you a practical example, let's say one position is open for 365 days, aging is close to 1 year. How do you close it? Because business is suffering a loss, you're not able to place one position which is open from a long time, 1 year, 1.5 years. But as a partner, as a talent partner, how you build that? How you do that? Do something beyond. Maybe if you think your target was given to have 50 hires on both in number, you will tell your boss, hey, I have done my numbers, where is my appraisal? That will not give you an appraisal, to be honest. How is important? What you have done is okay. But every time it is important for you to introspect and tell how. Tomorrow, if you are standing in front of a India head or anyone, like if he is asking you, tell me how you close this 1 year aging position. You should be able to narrate the story. How do you articulate? How do you talk to them? How do you give the data? How do you give the market insights? That is how it happens. But the interesting part is you do all that, and after 1 year, you see, because I am not happy with my appraisal. So appraisal is an interesting topic. And many other factors. It should not demotivate you. Okay, I have done my number, I have done this, still I'm not getting appraisal. I should not focus on my numbers. You should not dilute that. Then you should do, okay, this year I might not have a good appraisal. Or next year, what I should. It is always like we use a term called as cross-functional team. If you are a part of HR, go and talk to leadership team, go
Yeah.
Okay, two quick takes on this, and I'll keep the time that we have in check as well. So a long time back, writing an article which is called Circus of Management, where it was called, I think, a circus called management, right? So it's primarily how appraisals are done. By the way, it's a circus in a room, and wherein a lot of people who sit are the decision makers, and eventually we good appraisal in an organization, irrespective of the fact good appraisal in an organization, irrespective of the fact that you have done great job in your own understanding, please go and check the ROI metrics. You might have done a fabulous
And then that with this, my
looking at what is it that you really, where do you want to really go next? A title never really tells you that it gets you where you're seated, yeah, but it doesn't tell you that what is it that you can really move on to. Can I see that you can manage adaptability, complexity, agility, etc., etc. So these will never really go back to a title. So never stick on to really a title. It really is, to me, is an empty vessel. Because what it is today is what you really carry, and that's your own skill set, that and keep working on it again.
I'm going to ask all my colleagues here sitting here, how many of us have actually compromised on titles when we change jobs? Really? Yeah. Probably that's where my answer is. Exactly. Both will go ahead.
Just give an example of my own career path. I started off actually in TV production, and little knowing that I will never get back to really education. But that skill that I had in television production, when I moved to executive hiring and I moved into an executive search firm where I really learned, and I knew that, okay, these are skills that I already have in television production. I wanted to be in media, and I have these skills. How did I really apply it and got my job in executive search firm? Is my manager itself at that point of time was like, wow, I mean, look where you're coming from. Yeah, you come from creating a television show, and here you are. You sold this to me. You know, it's not just confidence, but I had data with me. Yeah, that why do I believe that I can apply these skills to an executive search, or leadership hiring? And this is where it's really got me. But having said that you keep improvising, keep learning, keep upskilling yourself, and believe me, titles are not going to matter anymore.
Okay. Now I want to move from that side of that to this side.
Yeah, okay.
Now, how does that so I'll give you an example from my life. So how roles are evolving. So as a product manager, now I'm just not driving the product roadmap. I'm also working to enable tech. So let's say through AI, I can give a prompt and get a front end made for any application or a web interface, right? So now my role has evolved. I'm not now I'm a tech, I'm a QA, I'm a product. So how do you evaluate such employees? How do you what difference does it make to your day-to-day roles? How do you comprehend these cross-boundary roles? Just want to understand what difference does it make to you?
I can talk this more from a certain sense and how do we evaluate people, right? In our setup, we have multiple opportunities outside your regular engagement that you are working on, right? First being externship opportunities. Now, you might have heard internships, but externship is essentially something where you are taking sabbatical for 6 months from your firm, and you're picking up something, some opportunities outside to expand your learnings. It could be anything. It could be an industry which you really aspired to work. Like we had people who wanted to work for luxury brands, right? They worked on go-to-market. They worked on branding strategies, so on and so forth. So that's how we give people or measure people that what are they doing beyond their regular stuff. The other thing is secondments. Right? Secondments has been prevalent for many years now, right? But how do we kind of create those opportunities for people where they are becoming more client facing while being on an on-site role, or how are they cross collaborating with colleagues from across the globe, right? Thirdly, we also encourage people to do part-time roles. We have people in our setup who said that I will work for 6 hours or I will work for 3 hours because I have a venture which I need to manage, which is also critical. So we have found out a way where it's a win-win for both the people.
So, cross-functional roles is what you talked about. Let's take three of the most important roles which have formed CEOs across the domains. So if you take a broad cut of CEOs of Nifty 50 companies or CEOs of BSE companies, basically which are should you put it this way, which are indexed companies. What I mean by an indexed company is where stock trading is the highest rate. So if you actually research them, what are the kind of roles they must have done? And you see this. Now, when you go back, you see this. If it's a manufacturing company, then almost everybody must have done a role of a PPC. Do you know what is a PPC? Anybody? Engineer, mechanical engineer, manufacturing engineer, chemical engineer. What is PPC? It's called production planning and control. Okay, now production planning and control is the only role which actually can only be done by somebody who's done procurement also, and he's done production also. That means he's worked upstream as well as downstream. Similarly, if you see most CFOs, all of them must have done one role, which is called FP&A. Does anybody know the full form of this role? Financial planning and analysis. And do you know why? Do you know why most of them have done FP&A roles? Any idea?
It's very important if you need to understand the budgeting of the project and how much to invest in the project and what to get out of it. It could be internal projects and both.
Okay, so traditionally finance departments are divided into two parts, treasury and control. Control is presentation of accounts, treasury is budgeting, fundraising. So FP&A is the bridge between capital allocation and statutory or management reporting. You understand? So finance, usually a lot of CFOs have their FP&A area. Manufacturing, a lot of people will have the PPC area. Now coming to sales, if you see very successful sales people in tech companies, a lot of them actually have done pre-sales. And he will add to it actually because he comes from that kind of company. What is the pre-sales guy? Now, when you sell anything, there are various stages. You understand? You first of all make a request for information, isn't it? Then you do a proof of concept. Thereafter, you make a request for proposal. Then you make a request for quotation. A proof of concept is when he comes a technical guy. You understand? The pre-sales guy is somebody who links a technical guy and the forward-looking closing guy. So a lot of leadership in sales, in B2B sales, actually comes from this integral cross-functional role holder who's seen a pre-sales guy. So cross-functional is the way to go. Going back to your generation today, a lot of you will see AI clones of whatever Just take the names of top people in Nifty 50 companies and look back at their career. You'll see a large portion of jobs, depending on the industries that they have been in, are cross-functional groups.
One thing that I wanted to understand. So, like, we have discussed so much about skill development, focusing on skill. I just wanted to touch upon how your organizations or your previous organizations help people. So, like you touched on, like how you can help employees to build their skills, explore new things. So, just if you could touch upon how that enablement would look like, and if AI has a role to play, because that's the buzzword now. Right?
Okay, so I worked in 3 organizations primarily, and 3 are relevant because maybe those may be aspirational companies for you also. So there's one organization that I worked in was Asian Paints. Asian Paints come to your campus. Okay. Now I worked in Asian Paints for 5 years. How did Asian Paints build skill? Just like she said, by making a brand manager only if you've done an area sales manager's job. You aren't entitled to be a brand manager in case you've at least not been an area sales manager and at least have not seen 3 geographies. Before that, you are not capable to become a brand manager. So, hybridization is what we used to call it. Has the person gone through the journey to come to the next role? Now, Unilever is the next organization I work for. Does Unilever recruit from here? I mean, do you have Unilever? Okay. So, Unilever has a very good program called the Future Leaders Program, basically. Now, this is basically, from top colleges, basically. Again, same strategy. Anybody who has to go to level 2B in Unilever, generally, management graduate enters Unilever at level 1D, then becomes level 2A and becomes level 2B. That's what used to happen in earlier times. Anybody who has gone to level 2B has to work across a minimum of 3 verticals. Now look at the leadership of both these companies. And I'll give you certain examples. Harish Lade, who was the CIO of Asian Paints, actually was the manufacturing leader of Asian Paints. You understand? Similarly, Ashish Shatre, who's now the CIO of Asian Paints, was actually the supply chain head of Asian Paints. Unilever, if you take Leena Nair, who was the HR head of Unilever, now is the CEO of Chanel. How could she go there? She could go there because she had cross-functional experiences. Sanjeev Mehta used to be the CEO of Asian Paints, was actually CFO before. Mr. Balaji, who's now the CEO of Jaguar Land Rover, used to be the CFO of Hindustan Unilever and then the CFO of Tata Motors. Cross-functionality is everything. Today I work for an organization called Motherson. I don't know how many of you know about Motherson, but it's the 15th biggest company in India. So we do revenues of close to around $25 billion. And out of that, close to around maybe 10% is from India, the rest is from developed world, Japan, Germany, United States, because we make cars and airplanes primarily. In our company, there's a unique thing. Unless you have not worked in 3 continents, you can't take up the role of a plant head. Imagine the role of a plant head. Why? Because we are actually importing work from somewhere else, localizing that particular work. And unless you're culturally affable, you'll not be able to take these risks. So this is how these companies build talent. I will close this with one example. Who is the chairman of Tata Sons? Anyone? You can Google it. You know who was the chairman of Tata Sons before Chandrasekhar? Cyrus Mistry. Very good. Why was Chandrasekharan made the chairman of Tata Sons? Yes. Tata actually saw who will be able to best identify, be best identified as carrying Tata through the digital revolution. Never before has the IT company had ever headed a company like the Tatas. But now Tata saw it. You know, by the way, TCS was the highest grossing earning company of the Tata ecosystem. Generally, Tata chairman would always come from Tata Steel or Tata Engineering and Locomotives company, which is now Tata Motors basically. Now they shed the old economy line and figured out who is representative of my organization now. Like you said, how do you come here? You come here if you become a representative of profit. And again, cross functionality plays a very, very big role. Do you represent the direction which the organization is wanting to go towards? And just like you have a brand manager, Saif Ali Khan for Royal because he's royal, isn't it? CEO should actually depict where the company is moving. That's how companies actually select people for the final job. And I'm sure my friends will like.
Sure, that was a great insight. So I'm adding this from the tech background. Tech background, I hope all of you understand the basics of technology, like front end, full stack, back end, and all, right? So question yourself why companies, big companies now they're laying off. Just give me one or two answers, then I will go into the deeper side. Why you think biggest giant, which is US-based companies, they are having a mass layoff? When I say mass layoff, 16, 20,000 is not a small number, but people are losing job, and they are not someone only losing job because of performance, but there are other factors which I want you to introspect and tell you why. So that's a great answer. Anyone? Yeah.
In my previous organization, I was working at PwC. In the US, when they laid off 2,000 people, the reason was they were not actually growing with the company. They were not understanding how to do valuations in the new senses and accompanying new software skills. So that was the reason.
Yeah, so I will relate that to Mr. Bhattacharjee sir, which what he said, right? Cross functionality and agility. When it comes to agility, just to give you an example, I am a Java developer and I have never learned UI, JavaScript in my career. I want to stick to Java and I am very comfortable using only Java coding. This is what I want to do. But my company doesn't want to do that. A company want to hire a one single person who will do multiple tasks. He can do back-end development, he can do front-end development, he can do a bit of DevOps, and AI is mandate for nowadays. Everybody, even for a recruiter, AI basics has to be mandate. So until and unless you don't upskill, because I'm from basically the tech background.
Anyone who can tell me what exactly it is? Anyone who can tell me what exactly it is? So don't think. Have you heard the word called career values? Anybody here? Just say yes, no. I mean, no. Okay. At least hold up your answers, right? Okay. So then let me just quickly summarize it in 15 seconds. You need to understand when you
you can learn any skill from any cross-functional team within the system by doing multiple work which are outside your particular domain, rightly explained by him, basically. So if you are an HR, I would not say I would not want to be part of a project which is doing, for example, in finance, we are doing a work which is more related to treasury. I would not probably say no to an IT automation project, which is working now currently closely on a project regarding an automation of an entire process for an organization, just because it's an IT initiative. I would not say to work on a project that is coming my way, which is more on the operational efficiency. Why? Because career lattice primarily means it's a multi-hierarchical, it's a multi-divisional, it's a multi-directional. Your growth in an organization can come from anywhere now. And that's the flexibility which AI has given to us now. Right? If I want to pick up a skill, basic skill of how, what are the dynamics of a finance, I can learn it today sitting here with the ChatGPT. Right? So why I should restrict myself and why I should not use AI to enable me to be more productive in the organization wherein I can pick up jobs which are not meant to be. So you need to be open with your mindset first, right, to even explore this as a concept. And in project management, we all have heard called M-shaped employees. Anybody who can tell me what is a T-shaped employee and an M-shaped employee? Sorry, very, very basic question, but very important and very, very important from a project management perspective. Who's a T-shaped employee? Yeah.
Who has a very deep knowledge in one specific area
and
broaden that knowledge multiply.
Correct. And who's an M-shaped employee? Who is an I-shaped employee? Please go and read about these things because these are important elements, right? Even if it takes you just 15 minutes from a day today, go back and read on these two concepts particularly. One is what is career lattice. It's important for you to learn because we are so channelized sometimes, with the amount of information that we continue to get on a daily basis, that we don't get an opportunity to think outside that channel at all. So think about it and read about it. And go and read about what are the shapes of employee in the organization. It's a project management, very beautifully defined, by the person in project management goals, and I'm sure he's laughing, so I can understand, he would know it, why it is important. So M-shaped employee is somebody now who has built an in-depth understanding on multiple verticals, and that's exactly what Sir was trying to tell. By how will you become a CEO if you really don't know multiple functions in detail? T-shape, rightly mentioned by him, is a person who only knows one vertical in detail and has an overall breadth understanding of the remaining functions. I-shape is you're dead and gone, sorry to use the word, because you only have a singular understanding and you have no even broad knowledge of any of the remaining functions. M-shaped employees are the ones basically, or maybe M and triple M, whatever, with the advent of AI. We need those kind of employees now. So work on those skills, please.
I just want to add on.
Sorry, I'll just quickly summarize. I think in this world of AI, I think it is, and not just AI, I think in the formative years of career, I would strongly urge everybody to be a little bit generalist instead of trying and finding out your specialization and kind of narrowing down to one, right? You can be a specialist later. But it is very important to be a little bit generalist and go deeper into each functions. I got that wake-up call quite late in my career. Like when I started my career, I started as a campus recruiter, right? And it took me 6 years to realize that I'm saturated. I need to do something else. That's when I thought, okay, let me now get into full spectrum of talent acquisition, experience hiring, leadership hiring, campus hiring. Then once when I again changed role from Gartner to Bain, that's when again, same thing. After 2 years, I'm saturated. What do I do next? And in tandem with them and ensure that we are just getting those route out. So I'm not saying that
in my career and was very helpful. Relationship, keep in mind what exactly are you moving in that business, why are you important, what role you have to play, and what effects you are causing, to make that needle move up. So I'll now open the panel to the questions from audience. Please, please go ahead.
I'm Shah. First of all, thank you so much for such an insightful discussion. And we are really splendid to listen to the thoughts of the industry leaders first time. Furthermore, I have a question that when we say that progression is skill based or it is skill driven, then how an employee can showcase their skills to the managers as well as the HR, keeping in mind that they don't rely on the title.
What you're asking is progression is skill based. How can employee showcase his skills to the manager without relying on the title? If the person is your manager, he would gently expect you to do basic hygiene as per your designation. Now let me give you an example. Imagine you get in as senior sales officer somewhere. Okay. Somebody who's not from a business school gets in as sales officer. Somebody who's from a business school gets in as senior sales officer. Now, your manager is the regional sales manager. One thing he'll certainly want you to do, which is the job of a senior sales. You cannot compromise on that. If in the name of showing other skills, you say that I won't do this job, then your manager is not working because he's hired you for that particular job, isn't it? Then comes what else can you do? What can you do earliest? Have you heard about Pareto principle? Anybody has heard about Pareto principle? What is Pareto principle? Yes, there's also something called low-hanging fruits. Then you have to identify what are low-hanging fruits, where I can show my capability. Like if you're a senior sales officer, can you do MIS for the supervisor? And then MIS will deal with performance of other salespeople, which will show to the regional manager that you can become a supervisor. That is one thing you can do, I can do, because you're a school graduate. Since you're an engineer, are you an engineer before this? You can probably also do inventory optimization and coordination with the warehouse, wherein you're showing the area manager that apart from sales, I am also doing stock replenishment. I will just take another example also because everybody is not from sales. Okay. Now imagine, let's take the other example from finance. Your first job comes as Forex trader. Okay. Obviously, if you're a Forex trader, you must be reporting to a treasurer because Forex comes under treasury. Since you are a B school graduate, to be made senior forex trader and not forex trader. Forex trader are the other guys who have to take the school of art now, probably. Okay. Now, what do you do initially? First thing you have to do is the forex trader's job. And here, what my friend said here is very important. He said, look at your ROI. Moment your manager realizes that though I have designated him as senior forex trader or senior sales officer, but he is not even able to do the job of a sales officer or a forex trader, you are out. Your degree is a bust. First, do that. Then prove your next set of skills. What is your next set of skill as a forex trader? Very simple. Imagine if you're again good at data like MIS, you can do cash pooling or forex pooling. You understand? Or else you can make a dashboard which actually shows how currencies move across geographies. If you are an engineer before coming into finance, you can implement a software which will be used for forex trading. But never compromise on your basic hygiene job because you are hired for a lower cost. As my friend said, your ROI will be in. You understand? So you're not getting people who can do their hygiene jobs. And before even learning their hygiene jobs, they want to be
and experiences with us.
Mr. Debojyoti, thank you for guiding us on aligning our skills with the right roles and context and telling us how context can truly make a difference and for showing us how cross-functional roles are the way to go. Dr. Ms. Supriya Ahuja, your reinforcement that true growth comes from building skills and continuous learning, far beyond the importance of titles or roles. Sorry,